what is she in here talking about? Whatever. I come up, my wife is watching this right here. Jubilee, Brandon Tatum is on there, and you see what it says, 1 black conservative versus 20 black liberals, y'all. And I'm telling you what, from some of the snippets I've seen on here, it got really, really interesting. And in this particular one that you guys are about to see, Tatum has many segments on it, but in this particular segment, he is going to discuss, and I'll let him say.
My final surrounding claim is that systemic racism is used as an excuse to avoid personal responsibility.
If you'd like to be the next debater, get to the chair in 3, 2.
What y'all think this is going to be?
1.
I've been looking into getting a
really commercial. Sorry, y'all. This is not my doing. This is Jubilee's doing. They're going to claim this video anyway. So,
hello. How are you? Nice to meet you.
What do you mean by systemic? Are you talking about like sociology within our society, or do you mean within the structure of our government?
I'm thinking that people would argue, because I don't feel systemic racism as a part of my life, but I'm thinking that systems or laws
that are put in place
or even that are implemented or acted upon
to bring down black people
is alleged to bring down black people.
You would say DEI was a hindrance to us, because that's a lot of what Republicans like to argue.
Is DEI part of systemic racism?
That's because that's what a lot of them will believe.
DEI, in my opinion, was the overcorrection of injustices that has happened to black people, which caused, I think, more harm to black people than good.
So systematic racism does exist.
I think in part, systematic racism and racism in America does exist.
Okay, thank you. You literally
I don't think, but my point is that I don't think that it rises to the degree that it affects black people where they cannot be successful in America and they cannot have the same opportunities as others do in America.
And where's the lie on that? Where's the lie? Now, if you talk about systemic racism don't exist, I don't believe it exists nationally, like as a whole. I believe that it's a possibility that it may exist in certain sectors, like certain people that got their own family owned, whatever, and they don't hire no black folks, whatever. Like, I'm just telling you straight up. But as a whole, that every last entity in America is systemically racist and against black folks, absolutely not.
I don't think it's a primary causation of black people or the things that are ailments in the black community.
And notice he said, I guess systemic racism is used as an excuse to avoid personal responsibility. Just like we can say that if people say, I don't go shopping in the grocery store because white people be looking at me and thinking I'm stealing stuff, you using that as an excuse not to go shopping at the grocery store. Not saying that white people don't look at you, but you can't sit there and say white people are looking at you because they're racist. They're looking at you because you're looking at them and y'all having a good looking time. But if you use it as an excuse as to not go to the grocery store, that's all of your thinking. Don't mean that that's true, but don't use it as an excuse not to go shopping.
That caused the numbers of blacks and marker points to go down and be degenerate.
So I like to think that when we put in red line districting, when we put all that stuff in, we saw that our schools were greatly affected by that. We saw that the systems within the schools were greatly affected in the way that some were more white schools and a lot of white districting, predominantly white districting, were way more economically benefited by.
Y'all can check this. White folks were greatly affected by redlining. They just don't tell y'all that. More than what black people were. Don't believe me? Go look it up.
The community around them than the black community who could not afford to grow any kind of economic revenue for themselves within the education system. We weren't able to get certain soccer fields. We weren't able to get different auditoriums for acting and stuff like that. You know, when you're not able to have those kind of like things in your school, how do you expect people to not want to go to the streets? How do you?
Did this Negro just say soccer? What Negroes? I ain't trying to be mean or nothing like that, but can we keep it a buck? Can we keep it real? What Negroes was interested in soccer to the extent? Now, I understand if you said they weren't able to have like the football fields and basketball courts, but then you might as well go ahead and throw in tennis and swimming. No Negroes interested in that. Let me stop. Ty, we got Venus and Serena. Come on, y'all. Y'all know what I'm getting at. You know exactly what I'm getting at, man. Come on, stop now. And at the same time, this is what will get me with folks right now. What do you mean word? What about now? Now, we talking about 2026. We weren't able to get married. We weren't able to have this. What about now? We talking about now. What can you give me something within the last 10 years? Maybe 20 years. What about the last? But see, back when you weren't able, what about now? What about now?
Do you expect them to not want to, how do you expect them to invest in things that they cannot afford within their system?
Well, let me give you a perspective here. Not all Black people are poor, right?
Well,
not all
it's a diaspora.
I know you're not saying that, but I'm saying it's a lot of diversity within. So I grew up in a Black neighborhood, right? All Black people. Within the Black neighborhood, there are those who succeed and those who do not succeed. There are those who go on and get a good education, even at the same school that I went to. There's some that do well and some that do not do well. In my opinion, that's a perfect example of how I don't think systemic racism has much to do with the success of Black people. It's personal decision making. Some of it does have something to do with parents.
I feel like you can do good, you can excel, you can be great. And I really do believe that there is a part of your person, you're part of your personality. But I'm saying that there is obviously, you can see that there are less Black people that are able to graduate than white people. There are way more.
Why is that? Why is that? This make y'all, oh my God, I'm just gonna say this make Black people look dumb. Why is it that Black people are graduating less than? You gonna blame that on systemic racism? You're not gonna blame that on home life? You're not gonna blame that on not having a father in the home? Y'all don't want to go there and have the real conversation about that because you want to look for somebody else to blame, the white man, the systemic racism. You don't want to blame your dad that left you? Or your mom is not educated either. Your mom is not trying to spend no time doing homework with you. Right now, almost everybody has either a computer or a handheld computer called a phone in your hand that you can YouTube this stuff. So there is no excuse. I tell my mentees that right now. I understand that you might be a single parent, home, young man or young woman. You got a computer in your hand right now. You got YouTube. There is no excuse right now. There's somebody on YouTube showing you how to do everything. No excuse.
I think that has anything to do with systemic racism.
No, you don't. You don't think that that has anything. You don't think that has anything to do with them not being able to afford to continue going to school because of the systems that.
She's not trying to listen, y'all. That's why people like that, I'll just go.
Were put in place.
Okay, I didn't say that. Here. I'm so sorry. You have been voted out by the majority. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wasn't listening at all. That was pointless.
If you would like to be the next debater to the chair, get there in 3, 2, 1.
What's up?
Schnucks, just
make sure y'all hit the thumbs up button right now, folks. Let me know what y'all think so far in the comment section. If you want to pause right now and just let me know what y'all think, go ahead and do it. Just do it right now. Answer, because I want to see if there are multiple comments in here while this is going on. I appreciate it if y'all would do that.
I just want to.
Can I lay the foundation of this real quick?
I was just for like about 2 seconds. Have you do that.
What I want to say is, and I want us to be very clear about this, and I'm hoping that we all can at least come to a common knowledge of this. I do not believe that there's no such thing as racism in America. There's racism in America. There's systems that disproportionately affect Black people in a negative way. But what I'm saying is that I don't even think it's close to a primary reason why Black people see success or do not see success in America. So I think it's a very minor thing that occurs in society. Everybody has their own engagement with disparity in this country. Some believe it's discrimination. You have privileges of being better looking. You have privileges of being athletic. You have privileges of having parents. All of those things are contributing factors that everybody engage in. Yeah. Racism does exist in part. Systemic things that cause Black people to be behind the curve in part does exist, sure. But it's not a significant reason why Black people
clarification questions. Okay. First and foremost, why are you saying systemic racism instead of just racism?
Well, you got to qualify it. I mean,
because he's the one that brought the topic. Brandon Tatum is the one that said, my last point is systemic racism is used as an excuse to avoid personal responsibility. So if you ask me why am I using systemic racism, because I chose systemic racism. I mean, if I wanted to just say racism, and then if Brandon Tatum said racism is used as an excuse to avoid personal responsibility, and if you get up there and ask Brandon Tatum, how come you just don't say systemic racism? Because that's not what he chose to say. I don't know what Brandon's going to say, but Jubilee, y'all need to have me on there.
Systemic means a continuation of racial practices. Mm-hmm. So you're saying from this point till now, that's why you would say systemic.
You believe in interpersonal racism? Can Black people be racist?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're just wrong. And
How am I wrong?
I got you. Don't worry about it.
Come on.
The reason why I asked about like why
No, tell me why you're wrong.
you brought it down to systemic is because it's a whole. Racism is a whole. It's an entire system, right? So when you talk about Black people being racist, you have to understand the ability to actually flip the power structure and use the premise of race and racism for your benefit. Question: who created race?
You know, that's a good question. I'm not really sure.
It was
White
a
people?
Portuguese man by the name of Gomez Inez de Zurara in 1452. He was actually commissioned by the Catholic Church, and they told him to go out and document the difference between these people, right?
Do you believe in race? Do you
It's a
believe race
social
exists?
construct.
No, you believe that it exists?
We live in the social construct. It's not biological.
So you're saying this man created it,
Yes, it's
and we
documented.
perpetuate it.
Yes, it's literally
Black people
documented.
also perpetuate it.
It's documented. They published 2 papal bulls, one in 1455 and one in 1457.
Yeah, so we're on the same
Yeah,
page. The
so
social construct is not really
Wait.
the
What was
determining
the
factor.
purpose of it being created, though?
Well, I'm not sure what his purpose was.
I got
creating
you.
race.
To justify chattel slavery, right?
I do not.
It's
agree to that
literally
premise.
documented. I don't care if
I
you
don't
agree or
agree to
not.
that. Okay.
I don't care. It's literally documented.
Okay.
So
I'll accept that.
the point being is that this system was literally created to disenfranchise Black people. Specifically, it's the structure and maintenance of a hierarchy which continues to actually create a free and cheap labor class, chattel slavery. Prior to chattel slavery, there were slaves, but they weren't based off of race. After the creation of race, they engaged in chattel slavery to actually create this free and cheap labor class. Now,
But I don't think it was primarily to disenfranchise Black people.
It
No.
literally was.
Race
No.
has
to go back
never
and read the papal bulls.
slavery was never about race.
Uh-oh. Who got in trouble for saying something like that? Who was on Fox News and said that? And when I said that, I gave y'all the answer away. When I said it on Fox News, that's when Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, Taraji P. Henson, all these other celebrities, y'all came for me. And when I called y'all out and said I would be willing to come where y'all are, we could talk about this. I'll go on the Breakfast Club. I'll go on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. I'll go on the D.L. Hughley, Taraji P. I will come on there and talk to them about it right now and bring them historical facts. Guess who answered after my producer got a hold of them? None of them. Because they'd rather go along with the bull crap that we've been taught in school and been going along with. And now you feel like because you've been taught this all your life, you believed it, you preached it. And when somebody came and challenged and said, no, that's not it, y'all get pissed off. This nigga, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Lamont Hill, I just want to leave here. I hate it here in America when he heard me say it. But none of them wanted to get on here and debate me about it. It never was based on race. Slavery was never initially based on race at all.
It was about cheap available labor.
Chattel slavery was about race.
Slavery, as
Chattel
we know
slavery was
and
about race. I'm not saying slavery.
The perpetuation of race, perpetuation of slavery was not
Why do you
instigated
keep
by
just
race.
saying slavery instead of chattel slavery? Acknowledge the thing that I'm saying.
Well, I don't really.
Do you know what the difference is
really,
between just slavery and chattel slavery?
I don't.
Pair the new Culver's fried pickle pub burger.
Lord Jesus, y'all, I'm sorry, y'all. Hit the thumbs up button again while we getting all these food commercials and stuff in here. And make sure y'all double check and make sure that you still are subscribed to the channel, if you would, please, because a lot of you have been unsubscribed to the channel. So make sure y'all do that. All right, let's keep going.
In a major point to the conversation that we're having right now.
You don't think chattel slavery is a major point?
It's not. It's not a major point right now because we're talking about right now how is systemic racism keeping you from personal responsibility right now, if you believe that. We see this is what this is why a lot of times I don't like to get into these conversations, because now you're going back to shadow slavery, whatever like that. But if you want to talk about shadow slavery, who else is involved in it? Anthony Johnson. Anthony Johnson was the first person to legally own a slave. White folks weren't even legally owning them yet. He legally did it. So y'all can sit there and won't y'all contribute that to Black people? They steal all our ideas. We built this country. Everything we invent, they steal from us. Well, guess what? They stole slavery from you too to own them legally. Oh, y'all don't want that claim, though, do y'all? Look it up, Anthony Johnson.
To the conversation we're having right now, I don't think that there needs to be a delineation.
It literally is.
How does that affect you today?
Said,
How does that affect you today?
I got you.
Okay, let's get
Gomez Inez de Zurara said that these people were hypersexual, animalistic. They were the lower hemisphere, and they needed to be civilized.
Which people were he talking about? There's a lot of Black people all over Africa. Was he talking about a certain tribe, a certain region? Who was he talking about? He wasn't talking about all Blacks. He couldn't have been. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been selling other blacks to them.
And they could civilize them vis-a-vis chattel slavery. Now, that rolls forward to where we are today.
How?
There's a whole bunch of stuff that you missed, but I'm going to skip forward.
What policies are in place
right now? I'm getting there right now.
that back up your claim?
The systems that black people exist in today that continue to disenfranchise us: medical racism, educational racism, financial racism.
Yeah,
Quick
explain
question.
that.
I got you. Do you know?
I don't agree with you.
Do you know the black maternal mortality rate in the United States of America?
I don't
It's high. It's high. Like 40-some%. It's high.
know it, but I do know this, that black people have a disproportionate effect in that area.
Yeah, it's 50.3 versus the white.
But that's not necessarily discrimination, and disparities are different. That's not necessarily meaning that somehow the medical system is intentionally discriminating.
It's literally
against
medical
black
racism. You gotta let me finish. You gotta let me finish.
Medical racism?
14.5 when it comes to the white maternity mortality rate. Do you know what the infant mortality rate is?
I do not know that offhand.
Yeah, the infant mortality rate is 10.8 versus white 4.5. There was a study that was completed that showed that when it comes to white babies, no matter who they're treated by, whatever race their doctors is, whoever they're treated by, they have the same possibility to life versus anyone else. Black babies, literally, the survival rate for black babies drop.
Especially when they get aborted. Uh-oh. You don't want to go there, do you? But for the fact that since you do got somebody that's medical, I'm going to tell you this. Go and look up the factors that contribute to why that is. Go and look up the factors. Let me tell y'all something, because this is something that I do. When it comes to that mortality rate, yes, he's right. When it comes to the infant mortality rate, he's right. But there are contributing factors. Look at the socioeconomic status. And of that socioeconomic status, look what the diet is. Look what the comorbidities are. And you want to know what? If you narrow that demographic down to those same black individuals that have those high mortality rates and high infant rates, look at the white people that stay within that demographic too. Theirs is just as high. Why is that? All y'all live amongst each other. All y'all are eating the same. Y'all not taking care of yourselves. Y'all eating a bunch of processed food. Y'all eating out all the time. You're not taking care of yourself. Morbid obese and other comorbidities that contribute to that due to mainly diet. A lot of contributing factors versus those that stay in better areas that are making better food choices, that are cooking whole foods, that aren't eating processed stuff like that. They don't have those issues. Yet at the same time, there are those that stay in the middle class, upper middle class, that are rich, that do eat a lot of high processed food, eat out all the time. And guess what type of issues they have? The same. I've treated them all. There are black people from the ghetto, from the hood. There are white people from the ghetto, from the hood, from the trailer parks, whatever like that make better food choices and don't have any of these issues. I would have ate him alive with this. No racism. Take care of yourself.
Unless it's a black doctor taking care of the baby. Everyone else, the baby out of the womb.
What you're saying?
Again, that is true. That is true. That is true. But again, go and look up what are the contributing factors. Look what these doctors are doing and what they're telling them. Look it up.
The black baby has less of a possibility to life. It's
Let
literally studied and
Let me give you a
documented.
perspective, because just because there's a statistical data point, you gotta work through the data points, because what you're saying is that every white doctor is racist against black people. That's what you're
telling
implicating.
you that's medical racism.
So you're saying, so are you saying that when you go to the hospital, doctors are intentionally being racist against black people?
I'm saying that doctors are taught through pseudoscience. Question for you. Have you ever
No, they're not. Absolutely not.
heard the myth that black people have thick skin?
I never heard of that.
It's literally a medical practice.
I've never heard of that.
It's something that's
I've never heard of it.
It's something that's derived from chattel slavery. It said black people have less nerve endings and thicker skin. And what
Where
they
is
said,
that taught at?
There it is. Black people patients often receive less adequate pain treatment than white patients. A 2016 University of Virginia study found that about half of the 222 white medical students and residents endorsed at least one false belief about the biological racial difference, including myths that black people have thicker skin or less sensitive nerve endings. Right? This is what they're saying. Now, where are we at now, y'all? Where are we at? We're in 2026. 10 years later, is that still belief? Is that still a thing? And at the same time, this right here says right here, the false belief about biological racial differences, including myths that black people have thicker skin, less sensitive nerve endings. Why is that though? What book or medical encyclopedia would get them to believe that right there? Because if you were taught that, what gets you to believe that? And just because you're taught that does not necessarily mean that it's a racist thing. Because guess what? A lot of black doctors who believe that and were taught that, they went out and they believe the same thing too. So what did that make them when they treated black people? Okay, y'all ain't ready for this.
In medical school, literally medical school.
That black people have thicker
skin. I'll give you an example.
Now,
hold on,
I got you. Hold on. Now we got to break this down.
Example.
So when you go to the hospital today, they're going to treat you differently because you somehow have thicker skin.
Yes.
What medical practice is in place right now that
medical schools today do not teach these myths as medical facts? They stem from slavery era pseudoscience used to portray black people as less sensitive to pain and justify slavery and mistreatment.
They're literally giving less pain medication to black people because they think black people lie about their pain levels because they have less nerve endings. This is
no. Everybody knows that when you go through anatomy and physiology, all of us have the same exact nerve endings. And not only that, when you come to see us, when you come to see doctors, when you come to see therapists, when you come to see nurses, when you come to see anybody that has anything to do as being labeled a clinician, physician's assistants and all that, we have something called SOAP notes, basically. And when you come and we ask you a question, it starts off SOAP, subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. Subjective. Your pain is subjective. I can have 5 black people come in with the same exact injury, and all of them will give me a different pain scale rating. They can have the same injury. One will say, man, it's a 9 out of 10. One will say, yeah, it's a 4 out of 10. One will say, hey, I got a high pain threshold, so it's a this out of that. So guess what you do? You base your medicines that you give them based off of the number that they give you. Now, there's doctors right now to do it today, y'all. I'm keeping it real. I have patients that are white. All kind of patients that are white. We see them all day long, and the doctors even say, I think she's drug taking because there ain't no way she's in that much pain over a sprained ankle. So I'm just gonna prescribe her some acetaminophen, or this patient right here, she is sweating real bad and she's this and that. I'm gonna give her a high dose of naproxen to see. They do that. And guess what? When you say, hey, that medicine is not working, nurses document that. They document patient states after an hour after having acetaminophen, her pain level has remained the same. They will talk to the doctor. The doctor will probably put them on something higher. That's what they do. Now, if there's a doctor out there ignoring that, then yes, report that doctor. But just going around saying, hey, they treat me wrong or whatever, like, if you're not reporting it, that's your fault. Say something about it. Call them out. Because guess what? In medicine, you're taught do no harm.
It's literally documented.
So you're saying every doctor is filled with racism. And so when a black person go to the hospital, they won't treat them fairly. They are incapable of treating black people fairly because they're black.
What I'm telling you is this is something that has been taught and
passed down. No, it's not. There's correlation and causation of two different things.
Can I give you direct information?
You're saying
there's literally studies. You think it's a correlation causation, but there's studies on this.
What about comorbidities? What about the health of the mother?
You're not engaging
black people
in the premise just because you don't know the information.
No. This is what you're saying.
Can I finish my point about the whole medical racism?
No, you've been making your point the whole time. He ain't had a chance to talk.
Racism with the nerve endings, the thicker skin.
Go ahead, man.
Sure. This was something that is derived from chattel slavery. They literally use this as an excuse. They said you can beat your black slaves because they feel less pain and they recover quickly. And so they use this as a pseudoscience to say that this still happens today. Hold on, I'm getting there.
Are black doctors taught the same thing?
Yes.
Are black people
keep cutting me off.
Yes, we got to go point by point. You're saying the system is taught to anybody in medicine.
I have to pause it here. You have been voted out by the majority. Thank you so much.
I'm telling you, hey.
3.
Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. That's why, man, y'all. That's why Jubilee, y'all probably need to get me on y'all show. I need to go on here. One, I hate when people just keep on talking, don't let nobody else talk. Y'all, did y'all know that, like I told y'all, yeah, you had chattel slavery. You can call it indentured service when it first happened, right? But at the same time, not all black people came over as that. Some people came straight to the north and weren't slaves at all. They weren't slaves at all. They had no concept of slavery. They heard about it down the south. And when I say down south, y'all be thinking like down Mississippi, down there in Tennessee. No, we talking about the Virginia and all that, South Carolina and all that. That was considered the South, right? So this whole thing about shadow slavery and all this stuff like that, yeah. But guess what? A lot of those shadow slaves, they actually worked as indentured service, served out there in indentured servitude, and guess what they did? They sponsored other slaves to come over here to work on their farms, and they treated them just like they were taught to treat them, like white people did them. See, they don't want to go that far in that. Okay, let's keep going.
1.
All right. So you're talking about 2026, right? Okay, cool. You want to say that these systems no longer exist in the way that they have before, but kind of going off of some of the other claims, there's a resulting effect that comes from the decades and decades and generations that have not received like fairness and equity. So when you say personal responsibility, even what you said, like I come from a neighborhood where some people make it, some people don't. It's not that. Like you have a low floor and a high ceiling, right? For white people, their floor is a little bit higher because they start off with a little bit more.
All white people? I know he's probably not watching this. I got a friend right now, grew up in the hood with us. My man just took his whole family to Egypt. He took his whole family to Egypt. His name is Robert Ryan. Look him up. He grew up in the hood with us among Negro. He grew up in the hood. My man married him a sister. Love his wife. Got a beautiful family. My man is successful. We all, you ask him where we all grew up at. Robert Ryan turned out to be successful. Family. Doing good socially, economically. Same exact thing. Same hood. Doing good socially, economically. There's some that were there that were with us, not doing good. Based off of what? Choices. My man worked hard. I saw him work at Caterpillar. I saw him out there hooping with us. I saw him being like, oh, shoot, white boy coming out here with a game. He had to deal with all that. I saw him when he got his first motorcycle. Applauded my man. I know what we've been through. So he didn't have no spoon in his mouth. He didn't have a silver spoon. He grew up in the hood in the ghetto just like we did. Robert, am I lying? If you're watching this, Robert Ryan, am I lying?
Their families come from a little bit more. They might have better choices as opposed to better outcomes. And I think that if you don't apply that sense of logic into the decision making of what you're saying, it's like you're kind of victim shaming people who already have one foot kind of like in a trap. And they're trying to run this race, but there's like barriers that's holding them back that have been there for decades.
Yeah, let me explain. I love what you said, and I think we agree on a lot of what you said.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there isn't disparity.
Right.
There's clearly disparity. You would have to be a fool to say that there's not disparity in law enforcement. There's not disparity in what we've seen with the negative effects of redlining, which we could go into that. You can't, it's not that there's not disparities. What I'm saying is that these disparities that exist, I don't believe that they're rooted in systemic racism, and I don't think that we can't overcome them and become better. I don't believe that because and then also some of these disparities, we have a lot of responsibility in changing these disparities. Right. Like we talk about a person's credit history, like that's a personal responsibility thing. We talk about our young brothers getting locked up in prison, the things that we are doing and how we're teaching our young people, the music that we listen to, all of those things are contributing factors that keep us here when white people are here on average. Gotcha. I don't think that there's a system in place that's really holding us back beyond what we've done to ourselves. That's what my claim is.
And I'm willing to say, like, you know, as somebody who come from a neighborhood that not necessarily a lot of people went the college route, like I got a master's degree and everything like that. I'm reinvesting in my community and helping people out. But I do think that there's a piece of that you said, like, all of this, blah, 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 blah. And then you said, but. And I think when you say that without like it misses the mark of having humanity for people who might not, again, like choices are choices. And if I grew up.
Might not what? I mean, I do like what he's saying right now. And I'm someone that's really huge on that. Now, see what I just did there? I even said now. I noticed that with my sons, y'all. My sons were little, and I was teaching them how to shoot basketball and teaching them how to use proper form. My sons would shoot the ball and make it. And I'll go, that was good, and I just see them go. I learned off of Lion King, and I kid you not, I learned off of Lion King. Simba was learning to pounce. And what did Mufasa do? Once he pounced on Zazu, Mufasa was like, that was good. That was good. Now, this time, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. He didn't say, that was good. That was pretty good. But, so I noticed when I started doing it with my sons, I'm like, yeah, you made it. You made it. Now, this time, try doing like this. Change the whole game. So I do understand the whole butt thing right there because it does throw a little bit of, oh, Lord, here we go. Not saying that Brandon Tatum is doing it intentionally, but I do understand it because I did it before too. My intent was not to say, but, oh, you screwed up. But I do understand why that is used and why they can be thrown in there like a So I kind of like this conversation them two having right now.
Up in a neighborhood where I didn't have like books at a young age. I didn't have after school programs. My family couldn't afford a tutor. I couldn't get good lunch. So I'm eating the shit that
Whoops. Y'all make sure you hit the thumbs up button. This is going well. That man and I have a similar story. We was going around picking cans. We were going around picking cans, turning it in for money, and using that to go and find something and get something to eat. I was in high school and I was everybody was trying to throw away their apples and their milk and all that. I was getting it to put in my backpack. Now, because they knew that I was a great athlete in basketball and track and field, right? So people were like, oh man, Tylen don't play around with this diet, man. This dude eating apples and drinking milk, having no idea. No, that was the only thing I was going to be eating like for the rest of that day. Had no idea. Yet here in 2026, though, you can't use it as an excuse because library is probably going to be obsolete. People are they got phones, they got internet, all the tutor and everything they need is right here on YouTube. So I can't use it right now as an excuse. No. And you did start off saying here in 2026. So keep it at 2026.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
let's keep that point. I agree with you 100% because I wasn't always Brandon Tatum, making the money I make and all that other stuff, man. I grew up in a very balanced perspective.
Sure.
And I understand some people don't start from the same place. When your mama and daddy selling dope, your daddy go to prison, your mama get killed, your chances of dealing through trauma is much different than if you had a healthy household. I don't want to come across as saying I don't understand what goes on in the inner city community. And this is more about poverty. No, what I'm saying is this is more about poverty 100%. Than race, in my opinion. When I was a cop patrolling poor white neighborhoods, they daddy wasn't there either. Right. And they were committing most of the crime in these poverty-stricken neighborhoods. Sure. Education was not something that was afforded to some of these people. So it's not necessarily just a race thing, and I want us to get past the point of using it as an excuse to say, because we're Black, we uniquely have these things that are holding us back. And I don't know if that's true.
But no, so I work with students with special needs, right? And a lot of times what we say when we have their diagnoses is it's not an excuse as much as it's an explanation. And it's like you have a reason or a rationale behind why something exists.
That's because I'm with you, sir. Somebody in medicine, they have a legit disability. And they are saying, although I got this disability that is legit and real, I'm not going to let that keep me from doing certain things. People who say and claim systemic racism is not a disability that physically affects you from walking, from talking, from using a phone, from pooping to peeing to eating to sleeping to using a bus to get where you need to go to using a phone. That does not stop you from that. But somebody that's in a wheelchair who may have amputated legs because of a certain ailment they may have had, they can't run. But they don't use that as an excuse to not be able to do what they want to do other than running is what I'm getting at.
And when you have that, it's like you have to let that seep into your thinking. And it's like you talk about the music or the movies or the TV shows, like it ain't, Goodfellas and Godfather and Scarface and all these stuff with people who don't look like us, who, we got power and, all of that stuff like that. Cool, we got music, but don't act like we ain't seen Tiger King, or you know what I'm saying? And they was out there anyway. But what I'm saying is it's like there's microscopic like examples you can give of all of these things, but if you just look overall with all of the systems, there's never been like an equitable amount of it that goes towards Black folks. And I think that for that reason, you have to embed that into your thinking. And I think again, your claim is not horribly off, but it's also like without regard to the reality of the whole holistic situation.
So can we come to an agreement on this? Is that we both acknowledge all of these things happen. We both acknowledge that it's not in part of some of the things that have happened in the Black community is not necessarily just an excuse, it's an explanation.
Right.
But do we agree that it does not prevent you from becoming successful and doing those things today?
I think yes, and which is again the practice that I like to do is a yes and, because I think that there are going to be people who transcend what life is kind of like put in their place. But I think for a lot of folks, like, it's just like, if I have a above average ability, like if I'm 6'5", so it's like I have a leg up on somebody who might have also been the same level as I am in basketball or sports or something like that. But because I have height, I have a little bit higher of a chance. Like if I'm somebody who's from a similar neighborhood with the similar like IQ and all of that stuff, but my parents have access to things that these other parents don't, my outcomes are going to be different. And I think that's like, you're saying it like it's an excuse, where it's not so much of an excuse as it's like, I just want us to be able to have like some people transcend, some people go along with the, like you have a bell curve, like you.
I got to stop him real quick, because here's the thing. Again, I like what he's doing right here. I wish I can be in this conversation like this. You're giving me explanations of things that you can't change. You said those kids you work with have disabilities. That's something they can't change. Either they were born with it, there was an accident. I don't know. That's a physicality, right? Now, you being 6'5" and somebody being 5'5", that's another physicality. You can't change that. But you wanting to do what you want to do, sir, you said you have your master's, right? You have your master's. You're doing what you want to do occupational wise, based off of your likeness, based off of your interest. You 6'5" and you working with children with disabilities. You're not the only person that work with children with disabilities. There's people there that might be women, average 5'3", 5'4". They're working with children with disabilities too, and they got masters too. But because you 6'5", what difference does that make? Y'all both have a love for working with children. Those are natural attributes. Those are natural gifts or abilities and talents that you have inside to want to work with people. I'm in medicine. I'm 6'3", right? There's people that's doctors and everybody like that are like 5'4", 5'3" men and are great at it. But my height has nothing to do with the fact that we share a same interest in medicine. Being doctors, being nurses, being therapists, being physician's assistants, being nurse practitioners, being surgeons, being anesthesiologists. We love helping people. Physicality with us, we don't care about that, because we all know we're in here to help people. Now, again, y'all follow me on this? Because it has nothing to do with physicality and everything to do with what's stopping you from doing what you want to do in America as far as your occupation, your love for something, your interest, nothing.
You have the people that's in the standard deviations outside of the mean, but like the outcomes over here and the outcomes over here are the ones that we tend to focus on, when it's like there's a lot of people in the middle who really just not getting a fair shake at it because these systems are in place that don't benefit us properly.
I think that
I have to pause here. It was a great.
What system was that though? See, that's what I'm saying. What systems? I would have to, man, y'all, this Jubilee, I like this, but man, what systems particularly are you speaking on or talking about?
Great debate, but you have been voted out by the majority. Well done. 3, 2, 1.
Hi again.
You back.
I am. So I do want to isolate this cause, you think, of Black disenfranchisement just over the course of history, because the thing I keep...
Over the course of history. What does it have to do with now? Jubilee, bring me on y'all show.
Hearing you say is culture, right? But in psychology, we have this debate between nature and nurture, all right? Sure. Every decision, the patterns that come from different populations can be caused by either one of two things. It's like your material conditions, okay? This is the culture you're talking about. This is like attitudes, okay? And behavioral patterns. Or it's like genetically, in some way, you are different from other populations. Like you naturally have less of an inclination towards success. So for Black people, I have to ask you, which one is it?
Thirsty for more? Rhinestone tumblers are also available.
Y'all make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button for me, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all enjoying this, please click the thumbs up button. Double check and make sure that you are still subscribed to the channel. We're going to continue this segment. Y'all, we're going to close it out. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me.
I definitely don't think Black people have a less inclination towards success because of some DNA makeup.
Perfect.
Black people do have a DNA, I guess, expression that makes them a lot more proficient
Athletic.
in sports, I mean, that's an advantage. But when you're talking about, like, your point is very broad. Systemic racism, does it affect you today, and does it affect your life moving forward? I do not believe so.
If you believe that nurture, right, is the cause, right, of Black people acting differently, it's not something biological here. We have to ask, okay, when it comes to culture,
it can be in part biological. Generational trauma could be biological.
But that comes from, like, again, social standards, okay, issues that are replicated from the material conditions. When I say material conditions, I'm talking about what is around you, what is the infrastructure of your life, okay, what systems are you born into, okay. So if we can recognize that right is where the cause is lying, my question to you is gonna be, again, where has this equalizer been, right, in the whole status quo between white folks and Black folks?
Let's put it this way. I'm hoping that we can get to a conclusion of understanding, because you keep saying Black people as if we uniquely are the only people who are dealing with certain issues in poverty. White poor people experience a lot of similar things as Black people,
but not segregation and not redlining.
It's not. Right? But when you say redlining, when I just told you when you look at the historicity of redlining, majority of the people who were in the red line district were white.
What I tell y'all? Redlining and related discriminatory housing practices harm Black communities most systemically, but some Jewish, immigrant, and other ethnic neighborhoods were also downgraded by federal appraisers and local real estate professionals who describe certain populations as inharmonious, undesirable, and infiltration. One just you Negroids and Negroites.
I can't wait for the fact check for this one.
92%.
I'm going to be so
I'm going to tell you right now. Okay.
No, Black
92%. Listen to me. Let me explain it.
Explicitly a factor.
No, it was not explicitly a factor.
Oh, it was, and I can't wait for the fact check to show that part too.
I hope they do. When you're talking about,
even when some red line neighborhoods were majority white, the broader housing finance system still used race and ethnicity to restrict access to credit and investment, with Black neighborhoods facing most pervasive and categorical exclusion. But what percentage of that white there, Joe Jubilee? What percentage of the white?
About the creation of the red line from the HOLC corporation. There's a lot of things in my mind. When you look at the delineation line, when they drew the red line, that was after discrimination had already existed.
And what did the red lines do?
The red lines were more of a revelation.
Y'all, this what gets me, and I'm sorry, y'all. What does that have to do with right now? What does that have to do with you sitting here looking at me? You sitting in your house right now, Black man, Black woman. You're sitting in your house right now. What does that have to do with the decisions and everything you make right now, or what you go out there and do right now? What's stopping you from using YouTube right now to look into an occupation, to look into something that you have an interest in and thinking about having that as a career? What's stopping you right now from finding the interest on YouTube right now and trying to figure out if there's something within your vicinity, your community, that you can look at as an occupation or a career? Plumbing, HVAC, doctor, lawyer, teacher, I don't know. What's stopping you from getting on the computer or your phone right now and looking it up? What's stopping you? Well, I got racism. No! What's stopping you right now? Well, when they used to do redlining, there is no redlining now. We didn't have the best schools. You got the best professors and people on this phone right now. Harvard, Stanford, retired professors are on the phone right now teaching all subjects. What's your excuse?
Of what was happening, more so than a demarcation that created it, because they had already been there. None of it, because you haven't looked it up. That's why. That's why you haven't looked it up. I did a lot of looking up. You didn't do enough. So some of these discriminatory practices by lenders occurred way before there was a red line. The negative effects of redlining affected white people and Black people.
How about this?
Disproportionately affecting Black people.
How about this? Let's get back to the cause of Black individual strife in America. Okay. I want you to isolate again for me. If it's not biological, where is this culture coming from? How does it happen?
It's like, for instance, when you look at Black culture, 30s, 40s, 50s, was very different than today. There was no gangster hip hop music. There was talking about killing and thugging and smashing every day. That didn't exist. Black families were intact at a higher rate. Black entrepreneurship was up. Education was prioritized in the Black community. We begin to see that degrade over time. So it's impossible almost to say slavery caused Black people to be here. We're not accounting for the explosion of success here in the Black community.
Uh-oh. He give you that, but watch it. Okay, anyway, so let me watch. This is what y'all do. This is what y'all do. And let me tell y'all something real quick here, folks. Let me tell y'all something here real quick. Daniel Patrick Moynihan in 1965 study of the black family, which highlighted troubling cultural trends among inner city blacks, still resonates in academia. Moynihan argued that growing up in homes without a male breadwinner reduced black children's chances of climbing out of poverty, and that the spread of such families would make it hard for blacks to take advantage of the legal institutional changes flowing from the civil rights revolution, explains sociologists Sarah McClanahan and Christopher Jennings. Moynihan's claim that growing up in a fatherless family reduced the child's chances of educational and economic success was furiously denounced when the report appeared in 1965, with many critics calling him a racist because he pointed out that by your black daddy not being at home, that's the reason why we're seeing a huge degradation of black families. And they called him a racist because he pointed out facts. And guess who were the ones that called him racist? Man, y'all should know this. Democrats to the fullest. Oh, wait. Don't you go around talking about taking the father out the home as a degradation of black folks. Don't do that now. He a racist, y'all. He a racist. Look what he think about y'all black folks. The reason why he did that, because they knew that the plan was in place. They wanted that. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? They wanted that. They wanted that family to be broke down like that. So what they do, they label this man a racist for bringing facts, knowing good and well that the end result of is what you live in right now today. Oh, it's just because they're systemic racism. They know that. They know that this junk is just a bunch of bullcrap, smoke and mirrors to keep y'all complaining, never moving forward, but ever complaining. You on a treadmill, you feel like you're moving, you feel like you're progressing, but you ain't going nowhere. You getting all the effects of movement, the heart rate, the sweat, the muscle pump, and you rehydrating, the movement, the bouncing up and down. You getting all of that, and you feel like you're progressing. But when you look around, you ain't gone nowhere. You on a treadmill. Now, for the next 2 decades, few scholars chose to investigate the effects of a father being absent, and too many were demonized in their findings of Moynihan's argument. In the mid-1960s, about 25% of black children and 5% of white children lived in a household headed by a single mother. Over the next 2 decades, the black percentage doubled and the racial gap widened, even as blacks gained political clout and Great Society programs and other measures directed massive amounts of resources at the urban poor. What was the difference, y'all? Daddy wasn't there. That ain't it. Man, y'all, we done so much post-slavery. Up to 1960s, we did so much. But why is that left out? And then yet in 2026, you complaining and you got knowledge at your hands called a phone or a hand top computer.
And I'm saying that the degrading of culture, people falling away from God, not marrying the people they have children with.
Make sure you hit the thumbs up button again, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate y'all being here. I know this is one of the longest ones I've done. Appreciate y'all.
Factors that are perpetuated by black people has caused a lot of the problems that we see
when
today.
we talk about things like rap music, okay, when we talk about the hip hop and whatever,
yeah,
what is being talked about in these songs? It's obviously
Stop, girl. Girl, stop.
Shooting. Okay.
Look, dude put his hand on his face like, oh my God, come on now. Look at the dude behind Brandon Tatum.
Shootings, okay? It's like life experiences are what are being discussed, okay? And when we look at those life experiences, they're much more so being concentrated in black areas. And that was true in the 30s and 40s and 50s.
No, it wasn't. No, it was not.
Hold on.
It was nowhere near the concentration.
I would love to see the statistics.
The Bloods and Crips, was there Bloods and Crips in the 30s?
No.
I want to get like three sentences out.
Go ahead.
So that's important in this debate. Okay, so once again, 30s, 40s, 50s, there was segregation. Again, we all know this.
But black people still persevered through.
That wasn't even one sentence I got out. You recognize that?
We got the time.
We got
limit.
time going down. And for us to be on the same page, we have to understand the same kind of history. So I didn't get any, there was no statistic or there's no kind of facts about the wealth in the 30s or 40s, 50s.
What? Hold on. We about to take a pause here. She said that. You heard her say that, right? The 1913 edition of the Negro Almanac, the Almanac said, which marked the 15th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation, boasted that no other emancipated people have made so great a progress in a short time. It elaborated by comparing the progress of freed slaves in the United States to that of the Russians who had been emancipated around the same time. What? Russians emancipated white people? Oh, wait, we ain't gonna even go there anyway. In 1861, rather. 50 years after being free, 14 million farmers had accumulated 500 million, or 36 per capita, and 30% could read and write. By comparison, after 50 years of freedom, the 10 million Negroes in the United States have accumulated over $700 million worth of property, or about $70 per capita, right? Now, for a large population to transform itself from virtually unlettered to more than half literate in 50 years ranks as an accomplishment seldom witnessed in human history. In 1865, Black entrepreneurs were engaged in just 12 different types of commercial enterprises, which included hairdressing, sail making, shopkeeping, shoe repair, catering. By 1917, Blacks would own and operate some 200 different kinds of businesses as they quit the rural South and headed for nearby cities of urban centers in the North and the West. The number of Blacks engaged in professional business and clerical occupations increased from 80 in 1910 to 301 by 1930, wrote historian William Trotter. This included an increase of 120.7% between 1920 and 1930. Black proprietors led the list with 3.5% of the total labor force in 1930. The progress of Blacks after leaving slavery and prior to the civil rights legislation of the 1960s doesn't receive a lot of attention because it undermines a prevailing and politically useful narrative of the left. The narrative, which seldom challenged, insists that Black underachievement is primarily a function of white racism, that Blacks need special favors like affirmative action to improve their lot, and Black integration of political institutions is essential to Black advancement. The arguments serve the interests of the people making them, whether those people are racial and ethnic leaders trying to remain influential or in political power. 1907, the Negro business Booker T. Washington reported that between 1860 and 1900, Black home ownership rates grew from, guess what, nearly 22%. Additionally, 74.2% of Black homeowners completely own their residence as of 1900 versus only 68% of whites. We were outdoing them when it was legal to be racist, when it was legal to be discriminative. We were outdoing them, okay? Now, between 1950 and 60, New York City, which had the largest Black urban population in the country and where racial discrimination and employment was lawful, the number of Black accountants rose more than 200%. The number of engineers increased to 134%. The number of school teachers grew 125%. The rise in Black physicians, 56%. Lawyers, 55%. Nurses, 90%. Social workers, 146%. The Civil Rights Act and Voting Act would not be passed until the 1960s. We were doing all of that before all the Lyndon B. Johnson, before the Civil Rights Movement. We're doing all that when it was okay to be racist and discriminative. So what are we talking about here? We can do all that during a time when there was no such thing as internet. We can do all that. But now, right now, in 2026, y'all acting like y'all back there. And even though you want to act like you back there, look how we prevailed. We were married more than them. And if you don't believe me, you can look this up. Y'all don't believe me. I tell y'all all the time. Y'all got me up here sweating. Look at here. During the 1940s and 1950s, mainstream publications and real estate journals famously labeled growing segments of African American population as the nation's newest middle class. What? Between 1940s and the 1950s, they became known as the newest middle class? Black folks? We can't get ahead. We can't. I'm gonna finish this thing out, y'all. I'm gonna finish this out because that right there just completely blew this bullcrap she just said out of the water. Let me put it back up here what she said, and I just proved my point to y'all on this right here.
30s, 40s, 50s, there was segregation. Again, we all know this.
But black people still persevered through.
And that wasn't even one sentence I got out.
You recognize that? We got the time
we got
limit.
time going down.
Get...
And for us to be on the same page, we have to understand the same kind of history. So I didn't get any, like, there was no statistic that, or there's no kind of facts about the wealth in the 30s or 40s, 50s that you gave me, well, hold on, right? What I'm trying to tell you, right, is that this disparity has existed even in those times you're talking about, where there wasn't any, expressions of culture that had to do with music. There was still disenfranchisement. There was still a lack of resources. HBCUs were still underfunded in those time periods. And we saw, for the most part, did not have home equity, which is the greatest way that you can essentially create generational wealth.
What I just tell y'all about the homes? What did I just tell y'all about the homes? Huh? What did I just tell y'all? Just spewing stuff out. I'm telling y'all, this is why I would eat these folks alive.
That was all true.
But yes, some of what you're saying is true, but I don't think it's the end all be all in success of black people today. Like, for instance, all of the things that you're referring to hundreds of years ago, 60 years ago, I'm asking you right now, do those things that happened then?
Another commercial, y'all. Hit the thumbs up button for me. Trying to close this thing out. And again, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Double check to make sure that you are still subscribed. Make sure y'all share this, man. Share this, y'all. We are out here trying to educate these folks.
Negative effect on black people in perpetuity.
Of course. And I'll tell you,
I have to stop here.
Property
the clock has run out.
That's why. Anyway.
I'm so sorry. Thank you guys.
All right, y'all. That right there is the conclusion of this. I know I kept y'all a long time. I appreciate y'all hanging out. We are just coming up on an hour. Let me know what y'all think about this by putting in the comment section. All right. Do not forget to do this right here. That greatly helps my channel. If there's to be another video today after this one, y'all, is going to be right here. Videos from yesterday right there. If you have not subscribed to the channel, click right here. I am Ty Smith, Model Renaissance Man, hoping and praying that every last one of you have food, shelter, and clothing. Most of all, praying every last one of you guys are in great health, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. God bless you all through Jesus.